there's always people around you who's willing to lend help, assistance, and also maybe share your same passion and your belief as well. So seek those people out and trying to see how they can also provide a support system for you so that you're not alone along the way and trying to make it a team effort to kind of pursue it at the same time.
Hello, everyone. I am Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and today I'm bringing you a Take the Doughnut interview with the one and only Rocky Fong. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Rocky Fong is the Vice President of Community and Business Development and the Community Manager of the Seattle market at JPMorgan Chase. Welcome, Rocky. Welcome to your Take the Doughnut interview.
Hello, Melissa. Thank you for having me here.
So good to have you. And before we get into any more serious questions, I have to ask, what is your favorite donut?
It gotta be, our hometown favorite, which is Krispy Kreme. And I always is the type of person that like to keep it original. So I really love their original glazed donut and then also the chocolate glazed donut as well. So
Okay, so you've got a couple options there in case you're in different moods.
definitely.
I like it. Well, look, I started with a little bit about your background and your bio up front, but tell us more about yourself. What do you want us to know?
Sure thing. So actually, I was born and raised in Hong Kong, and during the age of about 13 or 14, my parents finally decided to, come to the U.S. so that both myself and my brother can get, better education opportunities. And so that's kind of when we decided to move to Seattle back in '97, and we've been here since. I am a lifetime alumni at University of Washington. I'm the class of '04, so go Huskies. And then in terms of my passion, I've always been very intrigued in working in the banking industry in general. So throughout my career, I've worked at Wells Fargo and the U.S. Bank, and then currently at JPMorgan Chase. And mainly because not only the type of business, the industry itself, I have a strong interest in people, which I always have a strong passion invested in people. But at the same time, also the opportunity to get exposed to a lot of the community activities, the work that we do, the market that we serve, and then also how to kind of leverage our expertise and then also resources that we have to kind of give back to make a difference as well, which is the part that I always enjoy the most. During leisure time, of course, I'm a big foodie myself, so I always like to go explore, new places for, the new sceneries for food. And so a lot of the times my friends always kind of ask me for recommendations. It's just too bad that I don't have the time to write reviews. Otherwise, I would love to join the Yelp elite. So,
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm going to have to get some recommendations from you at some
yeah,
point. I love going and trying new places to eat. Well, this is a very specific kind of conversation. We're going to be talking about how to take the donut today. And what does that mean? Well, I'm going to link a video here with the origin story of that. But for me, take the donut is another way to say carpe diem. It comes from this very strange thing that happened to me in college at one point where I left a donut on a table, and it became an object lesson for me in what it looks like to actually leave opportunity on the table. So I don't want to do that anymore. So I encourage myself to take the donut. And this conversation is all about going after goals and what that looks like in life and in work. So with that in mind, Rocky, how are you with going after goals? What does that process look like for you?
sure thing. And I think with that segment, I always like to go back to some of the core strengths that I've discovered for myself at an early stage. And then when I took the Strength Finder exercise in the past in my early career stages, it kind of really match up with some of the strength that I find myself, which is around strategic, focus, and also inclusive as well. And I think because of those key strengths that I've discovered, a lot of the times when I go about, attempting to kind of really pursue the goal I have, whether it's starting from scratch or something that is an ongoing basis, I always try to focus on the big picture first in terms of, what's the end results look like and what I really want to achieve in the end. And once I kind of know what that's going to look like, then I kind of piece the puzzle together from top to bottom, where, kind of trying to make sure that I have all the resources to do so, know who I can partner up with, and then also, how I can leverage everybody, strength to kind of, come together to make this process works and achieve the results that we're trying to do. And if it's something that is more on an individual basis, I will also try to be resourceful as well and making sure I do my homework, do the research, and at the same time leverage some of the experiences and also the knowledge that I have gained in the past. And then also, of course, ask for some additional advice, from my peers, colleagues, or mentors, so that I can, get the appropriate guidance, making sure I am on the right path along the way. But most importantly, I think making sure that you are always able to prioritize, your priorities, having an organized structure, planning ahead. Do not procrastinate on some of the task items, regardless of how difficult or how not willing you are to try to complete them. Make sure you stay on track because it's human nature. Definitely understand that, but the key important point is, focus on, your North Star. Why you're doing that in the first place, and making sure using that momentum, that motivation to overcome those obstacles, challenges, alongside with, disturbance on the side, so that you can always stay on track. So those are a few
Let's
things.
dive
Yeah.
into that a little bit more actually, because I mean, we're talking a little bit about like staying motivated. Obviously,
Mhm.
you're great at going after and initiating what you want, but then a lot of times these things take time or a lot of effort to get there. So how do you stay motivated along the way?
I think it depends on each person's personal value, right? There's no, one right answer. But I think for me, I think it's mainly two things. First thing is really focusing on the impact I'm able to create and the difference I'm making at the end. To give you an example, one of the nonprofit organization I served on is called Chinese Information Service Center, in short CISC. And one of the particular focus that they have is really empowering the senior, elderly environment, senior care, and then also provide a platform for all the neglected seniors to have a place where they call home, celebrate their cultures, and then also have friends and other peers to kind of, have an engagement, ongoing social life. And I believe, first time when I take the tour at the organization and seeing the Sunshine Garden, looking at the smiles that the elderlies have when they are, doing activities, that's got me motivated to kind of join the board immediately. And through the past 15 years, yes, I've been on that board for 15 years already. It continued to give me that motivation to help drive the momentum to support the initiative because I know at the end what it means in terms of having that program ongoing and surviving, being sustainable for those platform to be available to those neglected seniors population. So that's just one example around how you can focus on the end game towards like what kind of impact you're going to be creating so that regardless of how challenging it is in between, such as fundraising efforts or trying to come up with resources to kind of support it because there's no revenue or any profit driven programs for it. It's solely just a service to the community. So therefore it is definitely a challenging task, but just focus on the impact you're able to create is definitely something that keep me motivated for sure. And
Oh,
I
that's
think
wonderful.
yeah, and I think on the second piece also is also focusing on the core value itself, which is something I always actually teach my students or my attendees when I'm doing financial workshop. It's the same thing, how you're actually aligning your values with your goals, right? Because if your goal itself is not really aligning with the core value, it kind of defeat the purpose of doing it in the first place. So, for example, during the process of doing community outreach programs or things that I'm doing for financial workshops, in the field, it's not easy task because you got to seek them out and also build a trust, have a process in place, and making sure the people who are in need really get the education, the materials, the expertise, and resources. But through the time frame at the end, you kind of know that the core value for myself is to really make sure we're giving back and making a difference for those who are, coming from a place that is not as fortunate as we are, we are giving them the opportunity to kind of level the playing field so they have the equal opportunity to go for what they are trying to achieve in life. And so with that being said, that's a key motivation for me to continue pursuing, the type of effort that I'm doing in the community, no matter how demanding and time consuming it is, at the end it's still worth it because I know it aligns with my core value and also my passion, a lot of the time. So.
Beautifully said. And I think, along the way, you've kind of hinted at sometimes it's not always easy, right? So are there ever challenges that come up for you as you go to Take the Donut? Maybe a particular brand of challenge that you just seem to keep encountering every time?
Sure. I think in the beginning stage, and I kind of learned along the way, and sometimes I have to kind of learn the hard way too, right? And that's why having mentors and having sponsors is very important to kind of give you those guidance along the way. But in the early stage of my career, I would say like sometimes when you're about to, take the next opportunity, right? Sometimes it may be into the field of unknown. It may be into a field where you might not feel comfortable, you have no knowledge at all, or you feel like you're not ready for it, right? But I think at the end of the day is you gotta really have to take a leap of faith and understand that, this opportunity is right in front of you, right? And then also knowing your personal capabilities, especially your work ethics, right? No matter how challenging the task could be, you should, definitely, take a leap of faith and believe in yourself. And then if there's challenges that comes along the way, make it work, by seeking different types of assistance, whether it's, from yourself, your self effort, or from others as well, who will provide the support for you along the way. But the most key important thing is, you avoid being always staying inside your comfort zone, but always being available when opportunity arises and ready to take that next step and take a leap of faith to move forward. But most importantly, also is that um, believe in the process and do not be afraid and shy away from the challenges that will come ahead as well. I think that part is very important, and because of that belief, I think it's basically one of the key driver towards how I was able to build my career along the way. Because there's been a few times in my career where I have to switch to a totally different field or a totally different role in which I have very minimum exposure or experience before. But again, there's actually a lot of strength, the talents, knowledge, and experiences that is actually transferable to what I'm about to do. And so once you're able to really, do the transition and the translation of your skill sets to your new environment, that's kind of how you make it work as well. So I think that part itself will definitely come along the way. But the most important thing is for you to really take that first step, because if you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone and be comfortable being uncomfortable, then you'll definitely be missing a lot of opportunities along the way. So I think that part is very important.
It's so true. And I love that you've mentioned a couple times the idea of asking for help and reaching out to
Mhm.
people. I mean, it's clear to me why you do community management and like you obviously really look towards a network and ask people for their support. And I'm sure you support people just as much. So
Mhm.
it's good to see what an excellent fit you are in the role that you're
Yeah,
in.
it's definitely a pleasure because along my career, yes, I have definitely helped mentor a lot of folks, whether it's inside the firm or externally, in nonprofit organizations, or even just giving back to my school at UW, where I'm part of the Husky Network mentorship program, where I also help mentor some of the undergrads as well, to kind of really give back to things that I've learned along the way, so they can do it the smart way, not the hard way, and then hopefully that they will carry forward and do the same for the next generation as well. So,
Oh, wonderful. Well, let's look back historically. What is the biggest donut you've ever taken? Could be personal, could be professional, but what's the biggest one that comes to mind for you?
I gave it a lot of thoughts on this one because there's definitely quite a few, throughout my lifetime. But I would say the biggest one yet so far is pretty much what I'm trying to do currently, which is helping to bridge the racial equity gap across the country, which we are noticing right now, especially, within the different segments and communities that we are trying to make a difference for, whether it's, from underserved communities, whether it's within the low and moderate income sensitive communities, or just specific fact sectors such as the Black communities, Hispanic, Latino communities, or even specifically for Seattle, also for the AAPI communities as well. And the reason why it's one of the biggest yet to conquer and take that donut is because it definitely take a village to really address that gap itself. It's no easy task. And currently, there's a couple gaps currently where we're continuously trying to, do great works every day to fill it up. Is because number one, across the country right now, there's still, a lot of the places where financial literacy is not a required curriculum. And so therefore, when people are starting to go to school at a younger age, they're not being exposed to these, essential knowledge that they need to kind of set themselves up for the right track on financial building, how to build credit, how to do budgeting, how to do saving, so on and so forth. And moreover, in each different age group, there's also different type of gaps as well. Like for example, in the elderly segment, in the elderly community, they're the biggest target population for financial scams, for different types of financial exploitations and identity theft as well. And a lot of the time when I engage those, groups of populations working with nonprofit community to kind of address those type of workshops that to kind of help prevent themselves from being in those situations, I'm always hearing stories from those seniors talking about the exposure that they already have in those situations, and some of them are being a victim of those situations as well. So you can kind of clearly see there's a huge gap there. And on top of it, of course, as we are trying to also address, from the affordable housing segment, there's still a lot of people who are trying to become a first-time home buyer. And what are we doing about that? How can they go about being a first-time home buyer? These are the type of, financial literacy we are also trying to provide, not just only with myself, but also my colleagues and my partners within the field that are doing great work. You're doing so as well. So there's still a lot of work to be done, whether it's from the general consumer population of financial literacy workshops, or even within the small business sector, how can we support small business community, especially those who are minority owned, and the list goes on. And so I think right now we are already more than 3 years into the program currently of the work that we're doing, and I think that's definitely a lot more work to do. But we are also very pleased at the same time towards all the achievements, milestones, and impacts that we've been creating throughout the work that we've been doing on a daily basis, even on the weekend. So.
Wow. I mean, I was also going to ask, is there a donut you're taking now? But it sounds like that answer, it's all one answer. It's a lifetime of work, what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So many interesting initiatives, and thank you for doing that work. It's very important.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely, I would say, the work I'm doing currently alongside my role is it's like a perfect alignment towards, based on my throughout my career lifetime of experiences alongside with all the different types of big and small nonprofit community organization I serve on the board for. It come to a full fruition for me to be in this role currently, where I can really leverage both my skill sets, my expertise, my network alongside with my resources, and also with my amazing partners to kind of really help, bring that impact on a sustainable and meaningful level, to the community that we are trying to service every day. So.
Oh, wow. So much, so big, a very big donut to take, but you're doing great work on the way towards it. So thank you for that. And there may be other people who are listening who are working on taking a donut of their own. They're going after a goal, or they're thinking about doing it. And so now, Rocky, you get to sprinkle some encouragement. What would you say to those people who are looking for guidance or a little bit of advice on how to approach it?
I would say first off is definitely believe in yourself. Sometimes we always like to sell ourselves short in terms of our true capabilities, but deep down, I think everybody knows what he or she is definitely capable of deep down. And so I would say first off is really build up that confidence level. Make sure that you tell yourself for the fact that no matter how big the goal is, you can definitely find a way to achieve and do it as long as it aligns with your values, aligns with your passion, and aligns with, what your end goal you want to achieve at the end. So as long as you have those things in check, I think you'll definitely overcome those hurdles that come along the way and still being able to stay true to your, vision on what you're trying to approach for. And I think secondly also is kind of what I have mentioned before, there's always people around you who is willing to lend help, assistance, and also maybe share your same passion and your belief as well. So seek those people out and trying to see how they can also provide a support system for you so that you're not alone along the way, and trying to make it a team effort to kind of pursue it at the same time. And I think last but not least, also as I have also mentioned before, in the previous section segment, is that being comfortable in the uncomfortable environment is the key. Through my lifetime of experience, I think like always trying to stay fluid, and always trying to stay adaptable and resourceful, it can definitely get you through almost anything. Because nowadays within the environment that we're in, things are constantly changing. Doesn't matter what type of industry that you're in. And so therefore, when you have that capabilities of always able to adapt, being resourceful, plan ahead, and know what kind of things you have to leverage to continue to move on and stay true to your goal, I think those will definitely come in a big help along the way. So,
Oh, thank you for that. Words to live by. And for now, where can we find you? Where can we find the work that you're doing? Or are there any links that you want me to share with people?
sure thing. My best contact have always been my email address, because I monitor on a daily basis. So my email address is rocky.fong@chase.com. Also, I'm also very active on my LinkedIn profile, in which I always like to share, in terms of the great work that we're doing in the community, because not only telling the story is important, but also I'm trying to provide a platform to kind of advocate and promote the great work that all the nonprofit and community partners, that they are doing in the field on a daily basis as well, so that we can continue to empower the story, and then also the great work that we're doing, so more people can known about it, and more people can also join in the effort along the way as well. So
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, everybody be sure to check out those resources and definitely check out Rocky's LinkedIn. He's one active person on LinkedIn. It's always fun to see what you're up to in the community. But for those who enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, because we have plenty more Take the Doughnut interviews still to come. And thank you, Rocky, for just taking this time, for sharing your thoughts and your insights. This was fun to have this conversation with you.
thank you so much, Melissa. The pleasure is all mine, and thank you again for having me.
Okay, everybody, you know what to do. Get inspiration, get donuts. Bye.